All right, everybody. Enrique Zoltano here, and let us talk about my video game movie. Okay. First thing, go read the script. Hopefully, I'm gonna put a link to it. I'm just finishing it up. Probably finish it up tomorrow. Um, Now, after you read the script, one thing you're gonna notice is that I don't provide names for some of the characters in there. And instead of names, I'll put like letters or numbers or something. Um, and let me tell you my name stuff, okay? For me, I'm a writer, so I don't blank when I'm writing. Like if I see an empty page, I get like almost sexually excited. I'm like, yay, empty page, blah 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 blah. Um, but when it comes to when I started writing stories, I'd start writing stories, but I blanked on the names, and at first I didn't really know why. But then I realized, but then I came up with a philosophy of names. Like when I'm engaged in a story, like I wanna just escape into another world, right? And I don't want anything to take me out of that world and put me in this hellhole that we live in, right? Um, and names improperly done could really do that, obviously, because names have a linguistic, cultural, and historical reality to them. Um, so, um, so you're gonna see names for the main characters, and I was on the streets when I was writing this, and usually, if somebody gave me like $5 or more, I'd throw their name down. If I needed a name, boom, they were the name I would choose. So these were the names that I threw down there when I was writing these stories. Um, but there's two different worlds in here, right? There's the quote unquote real world where all the characters live. But then there's a video game created by a character named Adrian. And if I put American names in the real world, and then I put American names in the story world, to me that is something that would take me out of the story. It's just like, because in Adrian's game, this is a completely different world. It's a fantasy world, right? And so like maybe I could have just done like old English names, but I was writing a bunch of stories, so it's like I couldn't keep throwing old English names down. At some point in time, you have to, the story writer has to develop their own linguistic and historical and cultural reality that creates the names, right? So after a while, I enjoyed doing, not putting the names down. Now, when you're reading the script, it might get annoying, but too bad. I want to write. I want to create this with other artists. So, boom, there's something for you to do. Um, but yeah, that's definitely that's I think why I would blank when I came to names. Um, because I like names. You know, it's funny about names because like you have Native American names, right, which are really cool. They're like a sitting cloud, or rock on a ledge or something. And they're beautiful names, but then you get to American names, and they're kind of like quote unquote meaningless, right? But that's not true. Like, if we knew the meaning of the American names, then it would be the same as a Native American name. It'd be the exact same. So if you call somebody Smith, right, that's somebody who was originally a blacksmith, right? Um, but we hear the name Smith, and it's just a sound, really, kind of. Um, but the reality is more Native American than the meaningless American names that we have. So yeah, no. When you're reading the script, I don't provide a lot of names, but that is why. Um, Now, for a lot of my stories, I also blanked on the title. Not all my stories, and the titles that I created for my stories, I really loved. Like, oh my god, no, yeah, I just really loved all the titles that I created. But um, I don't know. I mean, like, it's like almost like poetry. The name kind of encapsulates the whole story. So names are. I mean that's the thing that most people don't understand about poetry, right? I started writing poetry, when I was young, um, and I really wasn't even writing poetry because my dad had taught me English grammar, and he taught my older brother English grammar, and I was just playing around with the words, and I had fun playing around with the words, and so I started doing poetry, not because I wanted to, like, get with the clouds and the sky and all that stuff. I loved the mathematical nature of poetry, right? And I love the word play, and yeah. So the title is very important to me, and I don't want to just, like, throw any title fucking down there. So it's Untitled. Deal with it. We'll come up with a good title. That's what I want to do. But I don't know what that title is yet. So what else? What else? What else? No, I love this story that I created. I was on the streets writing all these stories. Most of them are live action, but this one was animated. So I want to do animated movies right now. And again, I think it just takes the hard work, right? So yeah, we put in the work, and we can get it out there. Or just have fun making it, right? But I've never been manic depressive at all. So nobody accused me of that. But for this, I really was manic depressive because I was overworked. I was writing all these stories. I was carrying like a 80-pound pack or whatever, and I was just overworked on the streets. And but I started writing this story, and I just fell in love with it. So I started getting this euphoria. It was like, wow, this is like the best story I've ever created. Um, and after I got done writing it, I got, like, really depressed. And so I started writing this other story about, like, Cossacks. Uh, and I was not excited about writing that story at all because I was just like, I'm never gonna, like, reach this level of story writing. Um, But I'm typing it out now, and oh my god, it gets so convoluted. But again, I was tired. Um, and I guess I'll show it to you. Let's see here. Um, let's see. I'm kind of embarrassed because man, like I've been rewriting this, and I've been it just gets so embarrassingly confusing at times, right? How do I turn this shit around? I don't know. No. Well, I don't think I can. No, that's not gonna work, huh? I started writing like this, but I was on the streets, so I just started writing straight. Because if I'm begging for money, then it's harder to keep flipping this book around. But I do like writing like this, or I prefer writing like that, I guess. Um, but man, yeah, it got pretty convoluted. But I like rewrites, and I'm doing a rewrite right now. Um, but yeah, no, I just I think it's an exciting story. Um, very very imaginative. Um, one of the things that we're gonna need is we're gonna need help from like programmers or computer hardware people and video game developers, right? So like Adrian's game has a needs a combat system, right? And the characters themselves describe the combat system as frustrating. So Adrian created this frustrating thing, but as frustrating combat systems can go, they can be very rewarding too. Um, uh, like one a couple of the main characters are like they're involved in this like video game church, and so they're basically at the start they're like bishops basically, but then they quickly become cardinals, right? But I don't want to use the word cardinals or bishops, so that's where a programmer needs to come in because it's a video game church, right? So a programmer or a computer hardware person needs to come in and tell us what words to use. For the head of the church, I'm just calling him CEO. So I don't even know if we'll put a name for him yet. We'll probably have to, but right now it's just CEO. And we necessarily don't, but we'll see. Uh, yeah, so we definitely need a help from some professionals. Um, because yeah, no, I don't want to use the word cardinal, but it needs a basically like a programming word, So uh, the the world, the quote unquote real world that they're living in is itself a video game world. So everybody lives in a video game, and it's just video games all day, and they walk around to the video game. They're not hooked into a seat, right? They're walking around these video game worlds, and they're actually engaged in them physically. um, and so these bishops and cardinals are also technicians, right? They're creating this world that everyone's living in. So they're going to be like programmers. They're also going to be computer hardware people. So, um, and that's not going to be a big part of the story, but it's going to be in the background. And I would like them to see it, right? Um, we won't see it. Maybe we can learn a thing or two, but I would definitely like them to see it. So this is a part of the world creation, right? So, but I mean, the story's pretty self-explanatory. Go read it, and I mean, oh my god, there's so much I like about it. There's a there's a devil that I created in it, right? And I think this is probably one of the cutest devils ever created. Maybe, hopefully. Well, that's what I'm going for. And it's, I say cute, but how can a devil be cute? He does say some pretty nasty things. But he also says some very cute things, and he's gonna be, I want to portray him as like this cute devil, but he is a bad guy. Um, but another thing to say about it is, I wrote this, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I was kind of out of the world at the time. I've never done like social media or anything. I started doing it when I was on the streets because I started writing poetry. Mainly during the holidays because I was just getting depressed and I wanted to release, I guess. Um, but um, I had no idea what memes were basically. Like 4 years ago, I don't know how long memes were around. So, um, but I think there's a lot of memeable phrases in here, right? Possibly. Um, and I think there's a lot of good lines. I say that with total writer's humility. Um, I need to do a an ethics thing for eBach. You have all these corporations who have all their ethical things. um, I mean, not that they believe in ethics or morality. Obviously, they just use it as a manipulation tool to get us to work harder, right? But yeah, no, I totally say this with yeah, no, a lot of writers humility. Go check it out, see what you think. Um, I could be wrong, but then again, I don't write to really please others, right? I think I know how to do that if I wanted to. Uh, but yeah, no, check it out for yourself. Tell me what I would like your feedback. Well, tell me what you think. If you think it sucks, then tell me it sucks. But tell me why. So um, yeah, no, I'm totally looking for other artists to help me create this video game story.